Right, hello everybody. Oh yeah, sorry. I just wanted to make a brief video about something I've got a bit of an idea out through history and and what it means today, if you know what I mean. So I want to talk a little bit about something called imperialism. Now, it's an interesting question because someone asked me the other day. It's a friend of mine. Uh, he asked me, what does the one ring to rule them all represent to you? From the Lord of the Rings, the one ring to rule them all represent to you? And my initial reaction was, the one ring to rule them all by Lord, whatever his name was. So my initial reaction was imperialism, the one ring to rule them all. Kind of, yeah. My initial reaction, what it means to me is imperialism. So it's kind of this. I just found on the Open University Library a short quote on what imperialism actually means on the Encyclopedia Britannica online. Britannica, the Encyclopedia Britannica online. And imperialism, state policy, practice or advocacy of extending power or dominion, especially by direct territorial acquisition or by gaining the political. I just added the at the end because that's all I could get on the article. Just the before political, gaining the political. So yeah. With that in mind, I'll just read that again. Imperialism, state policy, practice or advocacy of extending power and dominion, especially by direct territorial acquisition or by gaining the political. So, yeah, it goes back to this sort of it kind of goes back to Roman times, really. This the idea of sort of classical studies. I studied a bit of classical studies, so I've got a bit of an idea about it. It goes back to the idea of sort of old ancient Greece and Rome, particularly Rome. I'm not sure if it was particularly Greece. Particularly the Romans, the ancient Romans were imperialists, and they fought the Celts in Britain, and the Romans won, and that's why, for example, the Scottish and the Irish, as they still are today, are firmly rooted in their politics together, and for example, why. The United Kingdom is why the United Kingdom even exists still to this day. So I mean, if you look at it like that, I mean the amount of places that Britain has colonised or invaded or something like that over the course of a long time span. And they've colonised half the planet of the Commonwealth. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Colonisation, the colonisation of the world. No, I'm not even saying the global market is particularly a bad thing. I'm not even saying that free trade is a bad thing. I don't think particularly free trade is a particularly bad thing all the time. I think that it has. Its up points. I think a global market is probably a good idea. Being ex-chef, so I mean, that coffee doesn't come from down the road, does it? It comes from a source in South America, likely. I mean, how are you going to get your coffee if it's grown in South America? How are you going to get it if there's no global market? So I believe in local shopping, but if there's not a global market for trade, then due to things like Brexit, it's probably why there's so many empty supermarkets on the shelves at the moment. We've put a lot of borders up there. If there's not a global market for trade, then it's likely not going to work. And it's one thing it's actually one thing I slightly disagree with about China, the Chinese way of doing things there. For example, I think it was in the 1600s. China had literally the biggest navy fleet, on planet Earth. In the 1600s, I read it in the Guardian once. China had the biggest navy fleet on planet Earth, on their docks, and they burnt the lot of it. They burnt the whole lot of it to the ground, dismantled and burnt the whole lot of it to the ground. Their own navy fleet, because they were so afraid of free trade. Now, I think that's largely a bad decision, to be quite frank. Burning your own navy fleet because you're afraid of trade. I know it's a very large country, so it can do its own trade, but at the same time, I would largely say it has its downfalls. I would also say that it's. I'm not going to get all rage against the machine about it and say that politically it's a bad decision. I don't think it's a bad idea at all. So, without further ado, I'll just come down here. I'm a bit of a lefty in that I think that the people come first. Obviously, the people always come first, but because it's the people that build the business, it's the people that build the businesses in the first place. If you don't have the people to build the businesses and swing out too far to the right, then you're not going to make currency. So yeah, that's an interesting one. So yeah, where was I? Anyway, back to the beginning. I'd like to talk a bit about imperialism, and I suppose I am talking about it really, as I've just discussed. Now, as Britain and the Romans and the Celts, for example, there was obviously a war between the ancient Romans and the native people of the Celts in ancient times. And they fought between each other, and that's about it. And the Romans won the south, and the Scottish won the north, and Ireland is still to. I think it was just on the island where England is actually. So that's probably why you see a lot of. I think it's on the right. I think it was on the right-hand side islands, the islands where England, Scotland, and Wales are, rather than the island of Ireland. So yeah. Now, with that in contrast, with all our history, things like that, it's Britain's got a great history if you really look into it. Now. Yeah, so I think I might just end up leaving it there. I've not got much else to speak about. It's a nice little video, not too long there. So yeah, I think basically I'll just come over here, finish on this nice landscape, this tree right here. Anything else to say, Patrick? So yeah, it's probably why you see a lot of particular people with some particularly Gaelic tattoos on them in Britain, and some people with some particularly Roman tattoos on them. And we all get along well. So I mean, don't start a war, goddammit. All right, cheers, goodbye.